It's here. Best week of the year. You know, all the ebbs and flows of the season, the ups, the downs. I think Iowa and Iowa State fans would pretty much sign up for where they're at if you would go back to the start of the season. Iowa State for sure, 2 seed in the Midwest, St. Louis.
What about Northern Iowa?
Yeah, I don't think Drake would have signed up for where they're at home, but yeah.
3 out of 4 ain't bad, buddy.
Ain't bad. And the women in as well. We'll hit it all here on 2 guys to kick off the best week of the sports season.
As a student athlete, life can be pretty demanding. Fortunately, I can always count on Fareway to help me refuel and bounce back. It's why this is right where I want to be. Fareway, your home court advantage.
Nate Bargatze.
It's a lot to have 2 dogs, because you gotta open the back door and let 2 dogs out.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour, Casey's Center, Friday, April 24th. Tickets available at natebargatze.com.
With the Iowa Lottery's new Millionaire for Life game, you could win $1 million a year for life. That could make you a My Dream Job is No Job-ionaire. A front row tickets to every show-yonaire. A hire a personal glam squad for you and your bestie-yonaire.
Yep, a little further.
Or just to never run out of your favorite pickles-yonaire. With Millionaire for Life from the Iowa Lottery,
And these.
you can change your life for life. Play today.
Chris Williams, Chris Hassel, 2 Chris's, 1 network. This is 2 Guys. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is 2 Guys. Exclusively on Iowa Everywhere.
Good morning. It's blustery here in Iowa, but we're ready to roll. It's like blizzard here, Hassel. Did you know that?
Is it really?
Yeah, like legit, like 40-mile-per-hour winds, snow blow. I-80 was closed all night between Nebraska and Des Moines.
God bless you guys.
35 closed up to Minnesota, too.
Is it? Man.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you know.
Wild times.
It should be good for, well, probably a lot of people trying to get out on spring break today may have a little bit of delays. But nonetheless, we're ready to roll. One of the best shows of the year. Off the bat, I do want to announce, first of all, we're presented as always by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. In our second show this week, we are going to do on Saturday morning. Strategic decision based on all of the games being Friday. Iowa State, Iowa, Northern Iowa, all play Friday, which sucks. We'll get to that later. But we thought it would kind of be dumb to do a show right before the tournament tips off on Thursday. So that's the deal. I do think Murph and Andy are going to move their show up on Friday. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't gotten official word. I think those guys were talking about doing it at like noon.
Yeah, because who would be playing during their show? Iowa State?
Iowa State tips at 1:30.
Keith and Jenny did happy hour during the Iowa State-Arizona game last week. Probably learned a lesson from that. That's tough. That's tough to do.
So, listen, I have Matt and Aiden putting together a little show calendar for when everything is going to happen this week. I'm going to be traveling all day, well, not all day, but a good chunk of the day on Wednesday to get down to St. Louis. Lystico's all over the place for Bigger Than 12 because he'll be with Iowa. So we just stick
for
with us.
And listeners.
Yeah. So stick with us. In the next, 12 hours, we'll have the official word on when everybody can do their shows. I'm going to have a CW pod where I've been putting together notes, been taking notes, all sorts of tournament betting notes, and I'm gonna paint the picture. While Cinderella, she used to be kind of hot, she ain't that hot anymore. She's not that good looking anymore. I'm more of a beast guy these days.
Saying Fran McCaffrey's not hot?
Just saying, like, the portal has killed Cinderella, and I'm going to give you some statistics as to why and why you should be cautious when filling out your bracket.
Yeah, what was it? Last year we had all 4 1 seeds in the Final Four.
Yep. And I don't know if that'll happen, but there's a lot of data out there, and I'm compiling. So that'll be this week's CW pod. A lot to get to. So we got all the draws. We'll break it all down. Both the women's teams are in the tournament. Iowa State gets UConn potentially in the second round, which sucks. We are going to have a bracket challenge too. Matt, are you ready to present that to our audience? If you are, we can throw it up there. If you're not, we can do it. I tried to share
this link in the chat, and it was this massive link. I'm going to try and repost it.
All right. Well, regardless, it'll be up on this Iowa Everywhere social media feeds. We're going through CBS because we're Hassel loyalists here on Iowa Everywhere. And where do you want to start, buddy boy? Because there's a lot to get to. Iowa State gets the 2 seed.
I think you start with Iowa State because I don't know how it could be any better than what they got. The 2 seed in the Midwest, starting in St. Louis, with Michigan as the team opposite you. I don't know that you could draw it up any better, right?
I mean, that's kind of what I was hoping for. Yeah.
What could have possibly been a better draw for Iowa State than this?
Probably nothing.
It's perfect.
I think for like a casual, my wife is kind of like the casual fan that I go. She's like Kentucky, right?
Yeah,
because she sees the blue blood potential.
I'm not sure you're even going to be playing Kentucky in that second round.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see about that. Because Kentucky is one of those teams. But again, I just think, Hassel, this is like the new era of college basketball. 7 seeds are going to be hard outs. They just are. Like, these guys are all pro rosters in the sense of they're all getting paid, right? Like, and all these high major schools are just buying up the good mid-major players every year. So there's just all of these teams are just older and better than they used to be, from like that 3 seed to the probably even the 7 or 8 seed range. So you're going to get a tough 7 seed no matter what. Kentucky's one of those teams that's just so damn talented. If they decide to put it all together, they could be really good. You would probably know more about them than I do, to be honest with you. But from a traveling standpoint,
they've never put it together. They've never put it together this season. They've had some decent wins, but they're just that fan base is extremely upset with how the Mark Pope era is going.
They want Otzelberger, right?
Well, why wouldn't they?
Yeah.
But make no mistake, if they do win that game and they play Iowa State, they're going to have a lot of fans in St. Louis.
That's going to be a brutal ticket on Sunday.
Yes, it will. Because as we know, we've seen it firsthand. Kentucky fans show out, and St. Louis is not very far of a drive for Kentucky fans.
They would have a crowd advantage over Iowa State.
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah, I would agree.
But again, I don't know that it's going to be Kentucky. Santa Clara, that is a toss-up game to me, Kentucky and Santa Clara.
Well, the sharp bettors are all over Kentucky. They moved the line 3 points.
What is it?
Opened at 2, 1.5 in some places, and it's already up to 4.5, 5 in some places. So
Santa Clara is a team that knows how to win games. Kentucky is a team that can win games, that hasn't figured out how to win games consistently.
And they've had a lot of injuries, so a lot of their guys haven't really even played together for a lot of the season. And Pope, like I say, has been under fire. Like it's a little bit of a Darren DeVries type of situation where it's just feels like the guy just got there and people are already okay. It's moved back down according to Matt. It was up to. It's still 3.5, 4.5 out there. So all the sharp money came in on Kentucky. You're seeing more buyback coming in right now. Same with Iowa State. They moved the line about 2.5, 3 points. So they like Iowa State. It opened at 23.5. It's now 25.5. So yeah, I mean I'm with you on the. I actually like. I love the Sweet 16 potential for Iowa State.
Whole thing, and it's just kind of
I love the Sweet 16.
Tennessee, couple of teams that you – now, Virginia, I will say, they haven't gotten enough credit for how good they've been this season.
It's the ACC.
Right. And they took Duke down to the wire in the ACC championship game, but they have 29 wins already.
Yeah.
It's by far the most wins they've had since they won the national championship 6 years ago. It's a really well-coached team. They have the coach that came over from VCU, Ryan Odom. So it's just kind of, there's nobody that really jumps out at you in this region. And even Michigan is the 1 seed. We just saw them get handled by Purdue in the Big Ten championship game.
I wouldn't even be shocked if Tennessee's potentially the 6th seed that has a hard time with that team coming from Dayton. We see one of those teams, it feels like every year. One of those Dayton teams gets hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're getting. I don't think they're going to have a problem with Miami, Ohio, but I don't think Miami, Ohio will win.
I think SMU will win. I'm the same way.
But I look. I think of all the 2 seeds, Iowa State got the best draw.
Did you think for a minute when that bracket was being released that Iowa dropped to the 10 and they were going to throw them there opposite of Iowa State?
I was hoping that would happen.
I thought it was going to there when Iowa didn't get sent out to the East or something, whatever came up like the bracket before when Iowa didn't go there. I was like, oh no, they're going to do this, aren't they? That would have been miserable.
Iowa was the last 9. They were the last 9 seed.
And you started to see throughout the weekend more and more people looking at Iowa's resume and starting to doubt it, and like it felt like they were in prime position to potentially drop, and they just.
But what people that were doubting it were comparing Iowa to what they think a tournament team should be year in and year out. This year's bubble was different. I mean, all these teams were losing. It was a very weak bubble. So Iowa gets the last 9, and they play Clemson, who had the first 8. But I think also, just like Iowa State, I think that is a favorable spot for Iowa to be. Not necessarily to make a run to the Sweet 16, because Florida is going to be a bad matchup. They are huge in the front court. Mm-hmm. But Clemson, a team that plays a lot like Iowa, very slow, very methodical. They're the only team in the country, I read, that doesn't have a single player averaging 12 points a game. So they're balanced, but they just lost their best big man in the ACC tournament. And it was a great defensive player. Carter Welling is his name. Great defensive player, great rebounder, 6'10", 6'11". That's a huge blow for Clemson, but they have some players that were on that Elite 8 team 2 years ago. And Brad Brownell is a fantastic coach. And they showed that they could still win without Welling. They went out and they beat North Carolina the very next day on a neutral court in the ACC tournament. But look, for an 8-9 game, you can't be choosy. I think Clemson's probably I would rather play Clemson than TCU.
No doubt. Let's get some reaction from on the ground. We'll start with Iowa State, and then we'll kind of morph more into Iowa. TJ Otzelberger reaction to the draw.
I wanted our guys to understand that, the level that we played at in Kansas City and how we competed, that continuing to do that one day at a time, creates a lot of possibilities down the road if you're able to keep your focus where it needs to be. So I wanted them to come away with that with a tremendous sense of confidence. I mean, Arizona's a terrific team and program, and, they were in contention for the number 1 overall seed. And to have the game go the way it did at the end was unfortunate, but in terms of we should come out of there with a lot of confidence to keep playing the way that we just showed and demonstrated we could do for 3 games in 3 days in Kansas City.
That was a bad lead-in by me. That was TJ Otzelberger responding to, I believe, a question from Travis Hines about Otzelberger after that game on Friday night mentioned the words Final Four. And Travis asked him, I think it was Hines, Sorry, it was on Zoom, so it wasn't a great.
It was Hines.
Great.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I should have teased that too. Yeah. So yeah, Hines basically wanting him to clarify, like, you think this is a Final Four caliber team, and he's basically said, yeah, the way we played, we can compete with the likes of Arizona, who is the number 2 overall. So yeah.
I don't know, Chris. What did you think about that? Because Friday night, like, it was a super weird. I've been running a fan site for a long time. Hardly ever a time where you lose a game and people are happy, and it's not lame, right? Because the whole moral victory. But like, they gained so much respect in that game on Friday night, and I think that's what Otzelberger was trying to convey by mentioning that. And could also make the argument that they were probably better off with Lipsy limping around on his groin, and Jefferson had been limping around on his knee or whatever it was all weekend. I don't know if they wanted any piece of Houston on Saturday.
Right. Yeah, that's
to
not
get ready.
Houston. I know they beat him in this championship game a couple of years ago, but that's after going through Texas Tech, Arizona. Do you really want to to Houston? No, I think they're better off, and I don't think they could have improved anything. They could have hung a banner, I guess, for a Big 12 tournament championship again, but they've got plenty of those. They were never going to get to a 1 seed, so they did what they needed to do. I really do think that they went from a 3 to a 2 with their play in the tournament. I think that this actually did improve their seeding and got them a better 2 seed,
which hardly ever happens.
Right.
Yeah, I think you left a good taste in the minds of a lot of these analysts too. Right, that's the last memory they have of Iowa State, was going toe to toe with Arizona. That's why I think you're seeing a lot of these guys pick Iowa State into the Final Four.
I don't think Iowa State could really have played any better. I think Arizona might be the best team in the country. I might pick them to win the national championship. I like them right now more than I like Michigan, and I loved Michigan for most of the season, but they've got a big injury.
Yeah, match up Iowa State with Michigan through your eyes.
Boy, because that could be the Elite Eight game. Was that in Chicago?
In Chicago.
Oh my God! It's Coach Porn, Dusty May, T.J. Otzelberger. Dusty May is an incredible coach.
Steve Porn?
Coach Steve Porn. They have the Big Ten Player of the Year, Yaxel Lendeborg, who hit that game-winning shot for Michigan in the semis. But they've been playing some really tight games since that injury that really turned things around for Michigan. You look at their last, starting with that Iowa game. Iowa almost beats them at Carver. Michigan wins by 3. Ohio State takes them down to the wire in the quarterfinals of the Big Ten tournament. They had to get the shot from Lendeborg to beat Wisconsin, and then Purdue with that victory. I would give Iowa State a shot in that game. I really would. And Michigan's not, I don't know, they're just, to me, they're not as elite as Arizona is playing right now, or maybe even as Duke is playing right now. I don't know the particulars of how they would match up with Iowa State, how they would do defensively against Iowa State, but the road to the Final Four is open for the Cyclones.
You pointed this out months ago, and I found it interesting, and most fans are going to be like, duh, we've been saying it too. I found it interesting watching ESPN last night that Jay Billis, I think Billis picked Iowa State to the Final Four. If he didn't, he was considering it.
I think a couple of them did.
And his quote was, they have everything, but they're bad at the free throw line.
Yes.
And that is a Cyclone. That is my fear here. Because I even like that Kentucky game. Like, I mean, if they would play Kentucky.
Even Santa Clara.
Yeah, whatever. Like, any of those games are going to be tough. Like, it's just, I just don't believe there's a lot of difference between 2 and 6 and 7 seeds in 2026. I just don't.
No.
You can't go 15 of 25 from the free throw line in a lot of these games.
No,
and that's generally my fear for
a lot
Iowa
of these
State
games.
right
yes, and a lot of these March games, they get they call them differently than regular season games. They call it tighter. You get into the bonus earlier. And yes, that would be my fear as a Cyclone fan, is that free throws are eventually going to be the downfall for this team. Now, I wouldn't say that against Arizona. I don't remember free throws killing them in that game in the loss at the buzzer to Arizona on Friday, but I could see that costing them against a team that they're going to be that they would be favored against in the tournament.
What I mean, absolutely, and it may have cost them. I think they were 50. I think they were 4 of 8 in that Arizona game. No, they didn't.
Just
get to the line
didn't
a lot,
get there that much.
but that's because of how Arizona plays them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they pack it in. Like it's a stylistic thing. You probably won't shoot 8 free throws again unless you play a team with that size and physicality. That'd be really hard to imagine. But I mean, you could say, yeah, if you go 6 of 8, you're in overtime. So, anyways, if you're going to St. Louis, you should probably stop by one of our great Freedom Tire locations, get everything checked out. You don't want to get stranded right now. That would be a bitch.
Is the weather going to be okay for the drive down
I
there
think
later
so.
on
I
in
actually
the week?
think it's going to be like 60 on Wednesday.
Okay,
We're in that
so
like classic Iowa.
Melt that snow.
Yeah, you have no idea what's going to happen. But locations in Altoona, Ames, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. You can go to freedomtire.com, schedule an appointment. Also want to give a shout out to our friends at Game Day Men's Health. I've got my shaker. Do you have a shaker bottle yet?
I don't. What do you got in there? Pre-workout?
Yeah, absolutely. I already got my lift in today.
I was going to say, even though you've already worked out,
I lifted.
You're drinking
6
pre-workout.
a.m. Yeah. Well, the pre has a little creatine in it. You should get some of this. It's really good stuff. You can mix it together. It's fantastic.
Mixing with the pre with the cree.
Do you know your testosterone levels?
Well, I knew them as of about a year ago.
And my guess is
6
that-
months ago.
My guess, just knowing you very well, I love you like a brother. I'm around you a lot.
You're going to say that my tea has fallen off?
I feel like it's dropped a smidge. Yeah.
Mr. Hassel, you have 0 tea.
I'm just saying, while you're in there getting your peptides, I feel like you maybe should get your testosterone checked one more time. I'm just saying.
I think I'm still at the normal level.
Game Day Men's Health, baby. I go to the one in Ankeny, West Des Moines, North. They got them all over the place. Let's hear from the University of Iowa, and I'm going to lean on you a little bit. I got up really early today because I wanted to study Iowa and Northern Iowa's draws. I was all locked in on Iowa State last night. I know enough about this to be dangerous, but not as much as you. Let's hear. I'll let you lead us into Ben McCollum.
Yeah, so Iowa had their press conferences. Every team does after finding out your draw for the NCAA tournament, and it was interesting. Just the juxtaposition between McCollum and Brad Brownell, the Clemson coach, when they were asked about what they know about each other. Here's McCollum.
Do you know anything about Clemson?
Nothing. Yeah.
Okay, he says nothing. He was asked again later on by somebody that must not have heard the first time. And he did say, well, I know that they're well coached. Brad Brownell's a good coach. But then Brad Brownell, this was like the third thing he said about the Iowa Hawkeyes yesterday.
They're a little bit like us. They're a team. Like they've got one elite, I don't want to say just one elite player, but they have an elite guy who's probably going to get drafted, averages 20 a game, and he can do it all. I mean, he's terrific, and just shows you he was a Division II guy. Then he goes to Drake. Now he's there, and there's a lot of really good players everywhere, and obviously speaks to their staff's development also. And they play together. They're extremely well coached. They play hard. They run some unique ball screen action and a lot of twisting and different things that are, is very good, as you would expect. And so yeah, it'll be a big challenge for us.
This is like this is a matchup hell for my mom. You realize that, right?
Oh, because she hates Iowa and Clemson.
Yeah.
But he was getting into the weeds. I mean, he talked about Iowa for about 5 minutes, it seemed like. And McCollum, look, I realize that what's the point of saying that you're aware of Clemson or whatever. What he did say a little bit later in the interview, McCollum, when he was asked, like, do you scout ahead to try to figure out who, he did say, like, oh, yeah, somebody said we might be playing Utah State, so we looked a little bit at Utah State. I'm well aware that Ben McCollum knows a lot more about Clemson than he is letting on. But I just thought it was funny how the two coaches went about that completely differently. McCollum saying he doesn't know anything about Clemson.
I do think it's fascinating, though. Like, these guys are so busy. Like, how would Ben McCollum know much about Clemson other than Brownell? Like, I'm sure those guys have crossed paths.
It's just because that's all they do. Now, Brownell did say he is a big Big Ten guy. Said he grew up in Big Ten country, so he's always checking in. He said he watched a ton of the Iowa-Purdue game earlier this season, the game at Purdue that Iowa played really well in that game. I even heard some Clemson players. The Clemson players were saying that they had seen some of Iowa. But Iowa does have a genius for a head coach. Everyone knows that. So you want to check in on him.
Lost 7
of
10 down the stretch.
But Clemson, by the way, has lost 6 of 10 down the stretch.
So this is really one of those where neither of these teams truly belong, but they get in because they're high major.
I also believe this is the lowest total of the first round.
It's brutal, 131.
I saw it this morning at 129.
Oh, so they've dumbed it down then. Okay. It opened at 131 and a half, I think, and then
yeah. And no other total is under 132 and a half. What I saw this morning. So this is going to be a rock fight. Two teams similar, two great coaches. I like Iowa's chances. I do.
Good column today by Chad Leistico. You can hear him on Legends and Listeners here on Iowa Everywhere with Scott Docterman. And it was actually some of my favorite columns are the most obvious ones because I think in our business we often will completely overthink things and just we get too in the weeds. I was just joking there about Iowa losing 7 of 10. And I guess Chad's point, if I can dare to make it for him, you should go read his column anyways. It's just like it really nothing really matters until what you do in the tournament. So, like, if Iowa wins against Clemson, and I think they'll get killed by Florida. I think that's a horrible 1 seed for
and
them
it's
to get.
in Florida. This game is in Tampa.
It's just bad. But, like, I think Chad's point was even if you just beat Clemson, you forget about losing at Penn State, who had 2 wins, right?
But the problem is, had you won a few of those games,
absolutely,
you wouldn't be in this 8-9 position.
But what were the expectations? I mean, we thought Iowa would get to the tournament.
I think it was about this.
Yeah,
I think it was about this.
We both thought they would get to the tournament, but neither one of us thought they would be like a 4 seed.
I thought there was a chance they could get like a 5-6, and they could have. I mean, if they would have won some of these games, they were so close so many times, and they never seemed to end up on top other than that Nebraska game. I think that they could have gotten a 5 or a 6. Maybe don't turn the ball over as much as they did in some of these games because they just have to play more clean. I mean, you can't be a team like Iowa and turn the ball over. You just can't. You can't. There's a recipe for disaster. Iowa's not a team that can overcome that kind of stuff. Keep the turnovers in the single digits, and they'll have a really good shot to win this game. Clemson, by the way, has 2 players out for the season with ACL tears. They lost a pretty good player in the non-con to an ACL tear as well. So, I mean, they are, compared to what they were to start the season, they're kind of a shell of themselves. It was Zach Foster, a freshman, who was averaging 7 points a game, tore his ACL in December. So, I mean, they really are not the team they started the season with. And we've seen that down the stretch. They started 10-1 in ACC play, and they've lost 6 of their last 10.
Let's do today's triple B, shall we? Kelderman Manufacturing. Let's go.
Bigger, better, bolder. Built by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I'll go first. Doing a lot of research last night just on like historical stuff. I like to do this. A few notes on TJ Otzelberger in his 5 years at Iowa State. So I'm going with Otz. They've been a 3-seed or better in the last 3 NCAA tournaments. 2 of them were 2 seeds. You have to remember he had a 2-win team that he took over. 5 NCAA tournaments, 5 seasons. 2 of the 4 tournaments have been Sweet 16s. Hopefully that's at least 3 after this year. Crazy here, he's already 4th on Iowa State's all-time wins list. The 3 coaches ahead of him were all there for 10 or more seasons. It's just we get so stuck in the day-to-day that you forget sometimes to look back at how successful this 5 seasons has been at Iowa State. All while doing it in a very challenging era where, if they would play Kentucky, you're looking at a team that has 4 times the roster budget that Iowa State does.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought I would recognize that today for my triple B.
Yeah, keep that in mind if Iowa State doesn't make the Elite Eight, because there's going to be a lot of fans that will say it's a disappointment if they don't make it there. And I'm not saying that they wouldn't be right. It would be very disappointing if they don't make it there. It's just too bad it all comes down to this, right? As much as you did in the regular season and making it to, what were they, number 2 in the country, and doing what they did in that non-conference tournament. And
they beat the Big Ten tournament champ and the Big East tournament champ.
Yeah, what they did at Purdue, winning by 20-plus points, and then those back-to-back wins at Hilton against Kansas and Houston. So many huge moments for Iowa State, but this is it. But that's what you do to put yourself in this kind of position. You are in position now in St. Louis in the Midwest region where you can make your run. Is this as good as we feel about a TJ Otzelberger team making a run to the Elite Eight and potentially further in his tenure?
It is for me.
I think so too.
Yeah, it is for me, definitely.
I don't remember the exact feeling I had last year when they got that 3 seed.
We were both down because they were so beat up. Taman was limping around. They didn't have Gilbert. Remember, he didn't get to travel with them.
The Gilbert thing. Yeah, that took a lot of air out of the balloon.
They were just limping into the tournament a year ago. And then that team 2 years ago, I think, was probably the best one that they had. And so that they lose to Illinois in the Sweet 16, and I want to say that Milan just froze. They couldn't make a shot. To me, that was the best part of Friday night, was watching him go off, because he has frozen in big moments so many times in his career, and I'm hoping that 6 3-pointer performance in Kansas City can help give him because that's going up against a long athletic team, and that's what Kentucky's going to be if you get them. He needs that confidence. Maddie, who you going with? Triple B.
Well, I'll go from one TJ to another TJ. How about that?
Oh, man, this kid.
TJ Power for Penn.
Unbelievable what he did in that game yesterday.
That game was incredible. The Ivy League tournament, Penn versus Yale, down to the final seconds in regulation.
What the hell was Yale doing? Yale completely screwed the pooch in this game. I don't know if you guys watched it live.
Unfortunately, I was a big Yale fan in this one.
So Yale is up, I believe, 4 points with, 10 seconds to go or so. And Penn doesn't have any timeouts left. So Yale calls a timeout after they make 2 free throws. Color commentator was like, I can't believe James Jones just called timeout here. Now you're letting Penn set something up. And what do? They give it to Power right down the floor, drills a 3, makes it a 1-point game. Then they send Yale back to the line. They make 2 free throws again. It's a 3-point game, 5 seconds left. And Yale calls another timeout. Not only that, they don't foul. How do you not foul this guy who's got, at the time, 37 points, and he's making everything? He's a former 5-star player.
What are the chances that Penn makes a Sweet 16?
0.
God, that'd be great.
Who do they play in the first
Well, they
round?
have Illinois. Illinois is a
That's right.
team that, like, God.
Oh,
like,
that's Fran's old nemesis.
You never
wow.
never trust Illinois in
Oh
the
my God,
NCAA tournament.
I forgot about the Fran Illinois stuff.
But come on, look at the line. What's the line? Like
Orange Crush?
23?
I went from rooting against Penn to now I want them to make the Sweet 16. That would be epic.
Oh my God. It's not going to happen. I don't know who they would have to play in the second round, but
it ain't going to happen.
No, Penn. They were a 9.5-point dog in this game, and they
Will
needed
a 14 seed ever make the Sweet
44
16
points.
again?
I'm sure it'll happen. Yeah, I'm sure it'll happen. According to Torvik, according to user 2267, Penn has a 0.4% chance to make the Sweet 16.
User 2267's our source.
Big Torvik guy.
Torvik's a great site. I use it all the time. Hassel, who's your Kelderman Manufacturing Triple B?
I was hoping that maybe they would match Penn up with Nebraska or somehow Iowa State potentially, because, I mean, you could have made Penn a 15 seed.
Yeah, I thought that was a possibility, actually. I was just waiting when they gave the East first and Penn wasn't in it and Iowa wasn't in it. I was puckered up, ready to get Fran in the first round and Iowa in the second and be like, the first weekend of the tournament's always my favorite week of the year. I love covering it. It's just so much, it's just everything we get into this business for. And there's a lot of bullshit to get to that part, but that part you really enjoy. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, it's going to be filled with hawk trolls, these faceless losers on Twitter. I'm going to have to deal with this shit all weekend. And thank God you guys are on the other side. And way better to keep you guys on your own. Who's your Triple B?
It's just the week, man. It's great. Mondays suck, but they suck a little bit less on this week in particular.
Yeah, what's like a Monday walking into CBS during March Madness like, Hassel? Is it just the energy in the room, like, elevated?
It's just different. Like I worked on Saturday during a bunch of great conference tournament games, and it's just it's the vibe is just completely different.
I'll never miss Kansas City again, God willing. But being home conference tournament weekend is a totally different vibe.
Dave Zavolinsky will argue that the Friday and Saturday of conference tournament weekend better than some March Madness days.
I could see it, and I feel like I'm so much fun. Honestly, I feel like I'm so much more prepared work-wise for the NCAA tournament than I have ever been, because I watched all of these games. I didn't have anything else to do. I was just waiting on my wife, and then Cooper and Brent came over.
When are you going down to St. Louis?
Wednesday morning. I'll be there early Wednesday morning.
Hoping there's no like LED court down there that Iowa State's got to get used to. Although they were unbeaten on that LED court.
Yeah, I blame Yormark for switching off the glass court.
So you've got, all right, the Iowa State announcers are Spiro Dides, Spinarkle, and Rothstein. That is CBS
it's like
on
the D crew
Friday.
Who do you guys got?
I don't know.
Tom McCarthy.
Oh,
Candace
McCarthy,
Parker.
Candace Parker, Dan Bonner. Well, it's a 3-person booth. McCarthy, Candace Parker, Dan Bonner, and AJ Ross. It just sucks that UNI is playing at like the exact same time as Iowa.
Is that what's weighing you down?
It is.
Friends at Sule and Scales, they present weighing us down.
I mean, we
what's
already
weighing
knew.
you down, Hassel?
that all three of these teams were going to be playing on Friday, which sucks. And then, you wait for the tip times to come out, and you're hoping that they can be spread out enough. Well, no. Iowa State's standalone earlier on in the day. And Iowa and Northern Iowa, they're going to tip off almost simultaneously. Like, I really wanted to watch that Northern Iowa game. And I think they got a little bit unlucky getting St. John's in that spot, because
St. John's is a 5 that can be in the Final Four.
Yeah, and they're going to be pissed. Like, Pitino's going to use that. Like, look, we won the Big East. We beat UConn twice, and they've got us as a 5 seed, and they're sending us all the way across the country. There's no way they're going to catch St. John's sleeping. And they have a guy named Zubi Ejiofor who I think is going to cause Ben Jacobson to have some sleepless nights here this week. That guy is a dude, and Northern Iowa is going to have a really tough problem with him. But what I will say, even though they were unlucky to get St. John's as a 5, I think Northern Iowa was lucky to get a 12. I thought that they could have been a 13 or maybe even a 14 in this tournament, which could have matched you up with a. So I think Northern Iowa was maybe a little bit overseeded. St. John's a little bit underseeded, so it kind of evens out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
And no, he has not unblocked me yet, Shay. But I will say, Ben Jacobson did text back and forth with me a little bit after winning the MVC championship. He'll text back. Yeah, he'll text with me.
I like the fact that he'll text with you, but he's blocked you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you don't swear at him when you text, though.
No.
Keep it very professional.
Try to. But yeah, like all three of these on Friday. Come on.
It's weighing me down, too. That sucks.
And what that also does is, God, isn't it? It's so great. You win a game like early on a Thursday, and then you've got that second game on Saturday. Now you got to wait until Sunday if you win.
Yeah, I don't like
Sunday
the Sunday
games aren't as fun. So that was a little bit disappointing. That's what's weighing me down from Siouxland scales.
Iowa women are a 2 seed.
I think just like Iowa State, Williams, this was as good as they could have possibly asked for. You knew you were going to be a 2 seed. The question was, who's going to be the 1?
What a job she's done this year, coaching this team up.
Jan Jensen, yeah. Will you let me finish?
Yeah. Just making a comment.
Of all the 1 seeds, the one that you could see, maybe there's a chance. Maybe there's a chance they get to the Final Four. It's South Carolina. They just got blown out by Texas in the SEC championship game. So you didn't want to be in the same bracket as UConn. Let alone the same quadrant as UConn. Damn. That's bad luck for Iowa. I thought Iowa State did enough to fall to a 10 or even an 11, which would have given them more of a chance at making a run.
Absolutely.
Now it's just a brick wall. You're playing one game, and then it's a brick wall. Because they'll lose to UConn by 30 at least.
I would agree, like most people do.
But they have Syracuse in Storrs, Connecticut.
There's no guarantee they're going to win that game.
Right.
I mean, that's a toss-up. Matt, can you find a point spread for the women's games by any chance? I haven't looked those up. I would actually bet Iowa State women are an underdog.
I don't know anything about the Syracuse.
I looked at them very lightly last night, and they have like size, and they seem like a bad matchup for this team.
Everybody seems like a bad matchup for this team now.
I can't disagree. they're in the mode right now where you just try and get a win, and you have a whole team back next year and have a great offseason and try it again.
It seems like we're in this boat every year, though.
Yeah, I'm not arguing.
I do have a point spread for the Syracuse-Iowa State game.
Let me guess, Syracuse by 2.5.
Oh, way off.
Whoa.
Iowa State minus 7.5.
Whoa. Oh, my God.
I don't know anything about Syracuse, but
I think that's
Iowa
the problem.
State has Audi,
like, people know Audi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're going to bet on Iowa State because they know Audi. And I'm guessing a lot of people are like us. They don't know anything about the Syracuse women. 7.5. Wow.
What are the Iowa women, like 34-point favorites?
29.5 for Iowa women over Farley Dickinson.
It's funny, we haven't even mentioned the words Tennessee. We haven't even mentioned the Iowa State men's opponent. We have not said the name of them on the entire show.
Well, a lot like the Iowa opponent in the first round. It doesn't matter.
No.
And I think what you really like about Iowa State's opponent, and that you don't see a Hampton-type situation here, is that Tennessee Tech doesn't value the basketball.
Tennessee State.
Tennessee State, sorry.
These guys wish they were Tennessee Tech.
They turn it over a lot. So
and they're tiny.
Yeah, well, they're coming out of the OVC, Ohio Valley. Yeah, I don't think you have to worry about Tennessee State.
God, I hope not.
But I think if we had a show 25 years ago, we would have said the same about Hampton.
Mm-hmm.
But put it this, I'd rather see a team like that than a team like, out of the Summit, like South Dakota State or North Dakota
300s.
State. Yeah,
shoots like crazy. And this team wasn't even like dominant in the Ohio Valley. They had 5 losses. Those are sweet uniforms, though.
You like those?
Yeah, I like those. I like the black with like the red and it's like
it's an announcer's nightmare. You can't even read the numbers on there.
Yeah, this is true. Under Armour school. I want to go long on something. I got to get something off my chest. Are you cool with that?
Yep.
All right.
It's time to go long with Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax.
Bet you the guys at Wealth Charter, they're not taking Thursday off for the NCAA tournament. This is their NCAA tournament. It's tax time, baby. And they're saving people thousands of dollars every single year on these tax loopholes and laws and all this fancy stuff that idiots like us don't know about. That's why you take your business to Wealth Charter Retirement Planning and Tax. I lightly talk about this, I feel like every year, but it drives me. There's 2 things this time of year that drive me crazy. One of them I don't expect any of you to care about, but it's when the freaking selection show's going on and NASCAR is racing at the same time. I'm like, what are you idiots doing? What are you trying to prove going head to head with the selection show? It makes no sense, but whatever. The NCAA wrestling tournament is a smidge of what it could be. And this is a niche sport. It's hard to get casual fans to care about wrestling. I understand all of this. They're a very close-minded group of people in wrestling, much like racing where I'm from. But this tournament has a couple of problems. One, it's so hard to follow, and I don't know what they can do about that. That's just the nature of the sport. You have hundreds of these guys, and they're all wrestling, and it's like, well, you get points here, and it's very difficult to follow.
There's like 8 mats going.
Yeah,
at the
I
same
get
time.
it. I don't think you're ever going to clear that up. But what harm would it be to move up the college wrestling calendar 2 weeks and have your national championship before conference tournament week for basketball? You would get so many more eyeballs. You would have so much more media covering your sport. That's the other thing. They try and do this every year where they go head to head with the most popular college sports entity annually, which is the men's NCAA basketball tournament. And I could make the same argument for women's basketball. I still think it's stupid that they do their selection show on Sunday night. They used to do it on Monday. It got so much more attention. These niche sports like wrestling and auto race, like they try so hard to mix it up where, again, move up your calendar 2 weeks. That's all I'm asking. Start your season 2 weeks earlier and have the NCAA wrestling championships 2 weeks earlier. You would probably double the amount of people paying attention to this thing based on media coverage alone.
I remember covering the wrestling championships. It would have been 15, 16 years ago. Went back-to-back years when Iowa won the whole thing. And it was in St. Louis. And all I wanted to do was get the hell out of there so I could watch basketball. And in the media room, in the bowels of the arena, because they don't even let you shoot film the.
No, they make it as difficult as possible.
They make you sit in the inside of the arena and record like their own production of the wrestlings. And so we're sitting there in the media room, and all anybody's doing for the most part is watching the college basketball tournament. That's what the media covering the event are doing. And I know wrestling fans are going to say, who cares? I don't care. We're still selling it out. We still love it. We're not moving for basketball. We don't care about you should care, because that's how you can grow the sport. And I think
exactly.
You're 100% right. Even if you moved it up 1 week, it would help. But 2 weeks, you totally get out of there. Get out of the way of these other things that make these decisions for local entities very difficult. I mean, I'm sure that nobody in Des Moines TV is going to be covering the NCAA wrestling championships in Cleveland this year.
2 weeks ago, they probably would have been.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa State's a great example. It's finally Dresser has a team. They're not going to win the national championship, but they should be in the top 5. Every single one of their starters is wrestling in Cleveland. Which the problem is now, like, the majority of the fan base is watching the men's basketball. Like, right? So, like, these people the diehard wrestling people you already have. And they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, they'll follow you anyway.
Absolutely. The problem is, for your sport to thrive, you need more than that.
And especially this day and age when wrestling is a sport that loses money.
And wrestling is a sport that, across the board, I would guess, is on the verge of being cut at a lot of places, because you got to cut men's sports. And it loses money. And again, it's less about this state, because it ain't getting cut in Iowa. Like, I'm not suggesting that, but it does not do this sport any good to have it going up against the men's NCAA basketball tournament. It drives me crazy. It makes it impossible to cover. It makes it impossible to follow. And it's already hard enough to follow. Like, most people don't understand how all these brackets work and the scoring, and like it's really
backs.
You already have that against you in this sport, which, again, I'm not suggesting they change that. Like, I understand.
Yeah, you don't have to change the sport.
God,
just make it more accessible. And don't
put
it during the worst week of the year for this.
And the other problem I have with this sport particularly, and again, it's just like auto racing, we do the same thing, is there's a lot of these like wrestling entities that cover wrestling, and they do a really good job. But they also, they would probably watch this and be pissed that we would even suggest this, because they don't take a step back and look at the big picture. And again, I use my auto racing as an example. Like, why are you? I've always said this about NASCAR. Why are you running your most important races, your playoffs, up against the NFL on Sundays? Move your season. Like, change things up.
Golf did do that. Golf used to have their playoffs in football season in September. They moved that all up a month just to get away from the NFL and college football. You have to be willing to do stuff like that for your own sport and for its own health.
And we'll be there. Like we're sending Jacqueline there. Like she's our wrestling reporter for Cyclone Fanatic, and we have a niche group of diehards who follow it. And we're locally owned. We can make those decisions. Like to your point, like a lot of these wrestling's going to get cut as far as the coverage goes, and it just sucks. Like we're a wrestling state, but I'm telling you, like these media executives, they have crazier budgets than ever. There's a couple of companies that own all these TV stations and newspapers. They're not, unless it's drivable, or your Penn State or Oklahoma State probably, right? I mean, I'm sure the Register will send their wrestling reporter there because Northern Iowa's very relevant. They're not as good this year, but it just, I don't know. I yell about this every year and nothing ever changes, and most people tell me I'm stupid for my take, but I'm telling them like this is a bad thing for your sport. Get off my soapbox.
I agree.
Hey, so we do have the bracket challenge live.
All right, what do we got?
So I'll put the link. It's in the chat. It's in the comments for everybody. We're using CBS, like you said. So looks like we already have almost 20 entries. So that's awesome. So yeah, use the CBS. CBS does a nice job with this hassle. It's really clean. There's others out there too, obviously, but we're going with CBS and get your entries in. I think when's the deadline? Probably just before the Thursday games, right? I don't think
guess
CBS
it's right before
makes you do that.
Yeah, nobody cares about the first four.
It's the deadline isn't until when does the first game tip off on Thursday?
10:59 probably a.m.
Yeah,
I think 11
because you don't pick the Dayton games. You don't have to pick that game. Yeah. You just get whoever wins that game. I did just get a note from our friend Bailey over at the University of Iowa, and the tickets for the Iowa women's games this weekend are available, but they're almost gone if you're listening live. 1,500 remain just 20 minutes into the opening there. So that's going to be sold out.
Iowa and I was going to Tampa. Maybe Kirk Ferentz give Ben some Tampa tips.
Yeah, I heard somebody ask McCullum that. They're like, is it, the football team likes going down to Tampa. You think that's going to be good for you guys as well?
A lot of Hawks down in Florida, right?
Somebody asked me if I was going to drive over.
Oh, that's a good question. You're a long ways from Tampa.
It's 3.5 hours. And, you do that, you miss all the other stuff going on too, and I want to be able to watch Northern Iowa at the same time. So no,
Iowa State and St. Louis is not going to be cheap either because Missouri's in that pod. Kentucky's brutal. Close by. Who else is close?
Kentucky's the one that's going to be driving that up.
Jeez.
If those two teams play on Sunday, it's going to be a nightmare.
Printed out my first bracket.
Hey, there you
go. When do you fill out your bracket for the first time?
I did one yesterday.
You've already filled one out?
I'll do on Wednesday.
Yeah, I wait until Wednesday during the day.
What about all these idiots that'll fill out?
What do you mean you change it?
Well, you can. I make my gut picks, and then I look through it, and I'm like, okay, maybe I'll tweak this one here, this one here. I only do one, though. I don't do like 20.
Yeah. Don't do the 10 brackets. Those are the people that piss me off.
And by the way, if you're entering ours, if the winner, the top point getter in our bracket will get some merch from the Iowa Everywhere merch store. So nice little incentive.
You do one bracket and end it. That's it. You don't do, oh, this is my upset bracket. Oh, this is my mascot bracket over here. Oh no, this is what my gut. No, this is what my head says. You fill out one bracket. What do you think is going to happen?
Those people are psychopaths who do that.
Insane. They shouldn't be allowed to enter bracket pools.
There's a special place in hell for people like that.
By the way, we'll put all this information on our social media too. If you don't see it in the chat, it'll be on our Facebook and our X later today.
If you knew like one of your friends filled out like 10 brackets, would you still be friends with him?
No.
Me neither.
What is the point of that? Like, it's going to give me more chances to win. You have to pay extra entries as well. It shouldn't be like buying a bunch of lottery tickets. This is skill. It's not luck. This is serious business. Fill out one bracket, what you think is going to happen, and be done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Stand by your bracket.
And if you suck, say you suck. Don't be like, oh, I picked that 14 seed. You have 10 brackets and you picked it in one that's in like the 20th percentile. Oh, God, I hate those people. Woo! It's like the idiot sports bettors who only show you their tickets when they win. Or the guy who plays the slot machine all the time and he just brags when he hits the big winner, but he doesn't tell you about that.
That was like you this weekend. Oh, I'm plus 40 units this past month.
I was. You're
20
an
of those
idiot,
are on
Matt.
NASCAR.
You're the worst sports bettor I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I've lost my 11 of my last 12 bets.
What were you thinking? Matt, this God's honest truth here. Matt comes and blows up our two guys group chat, accusing me of missing the BYU game on Thursday night. I got the game right. Matt's like, you're an idiot, Chris. God, do you ever get any sports bets right?
But Matt,
is that the one
you
that
didn't realize you took the damn money line.
No, I took the 4. You said I took 4.5. You took 5.5.
No, that was a different game,
Oh,
buddy.
that was the other
You
one.
were criticizing me for BYU. I took them at 10.5. You're like, God, didn't you pick BYU to win, you moron? You come in and start talking shit to me, and I got the game right.
I need to start tailing you in the tournament apparently because I'm down in my bets. Man.
Well, I wouldn't start trailing me now, buddy.
Yeah, he's due
now
to be going back
I'm
down.
I'm due to fade me now.
Okay, fade.
I've been pretty hot too. I picked 2 tournament futures in conference tournaments. VCU plus 200 to win the A10. Boom. Arkansas plus 650 to win the SEC. Boom. Got them both.
Man. Dude, Van Winks had one of the brutal beats of all time the other night, though.
What was that?
That TCU game, the Kansas TCU game. Because he's like, I need a winner. And I gave him TCU 5.5. And the game had moved to 4.5. And TCU lost by 5. So I won and he lost. I actually felt bad for you there, pal, because that was brutal.
That's tough. I had 3 different bets on that. I had like 4.5, 5.5, and 7.5.
Yeah, why don't you just quit gambling that and just play Millionaire for Life? Woo-hoo!
I played Millionaire for Life yesterday.
How'd it go for you?
Millionaire for Life.
How'd it go
I
for
lost it, but it's cool. It's like it's kind of like
Man.
you're playing Powerball. You get the ticket, you get the numbers, you get the 1 through 5. I think at the
Wouldn't
end.
that be something if Maddie Van Winks won the Millionaire for Life?
I don't think he'd believe us.
Would you get Niners season tickets and just fly to?
Oh yeah.
I don't know that
I'd
$1
get the
million
hell out of
would to have to fly to San Francisco every week, attend
You'd
those
probably go
games.
broke.
Yeah, I think you would.
No, I'd buy a penthouse.
Van
Go a
Winks.
long way in Iowa though.
Van Winks was texting with me. He was really wanting Iowa State to get that road to San Jose.
Yeah, really wanted the San Jose.
I kind of wanted that just for your sake. That would have been cool, but I didn't really want to. I didn't want any piece of Arizona again.
No,
you Iowans couldn't handle
that
the Bay
Arizona
Area.
team gives me nightmares after those 2 shots.
Yeah. Speaking of shots,
yeah. Shout out to our friends at Iowa Distilling. I'm a Prairie Fire hound. You ever had Prairie Fire, Hessel?
Yeah, I had it for the first time at the Iowa Everywhere party.
Tastes like a hot tamale.
Mm-hmm.
Down in Cumming, their tasting room is wonderful.
I used it as an enema.
You used Prairie Fire as an enema?
Yeah. Clean me right out. It was wet and wild.
the 1858 vodka is good. I saw watching Happy Hour on Friday. Their drink of the week was like soda water and vodka.
Oh, really? Yeah.
That sounds like a Keith Murphy drink of the week.
Doesn't it?
That guy, he hates flavor. He hates the taste of water. Like Andy Fales said a couple years ago that if it was socially acceptable, Keith would just walk around with a feeding tube hooked up so he didn't have to eat food or drink anything because he hates it.
I noticed that last year. I was in Arizona with Murph and Kelderman.
Mm-hmm.
And like we never got dinner. We just went to another bar.
It's crazy. He's a weird cat. Like he tries to put off this image like he's one of us. You know, he's an everyman. He's not. He is a weirdo.
But he's better than us.
Yes, he is. He's a better person.
Yeah.
But he's got some real quirks. Like, all he will ever eat is like a hamburger. He'll go to a fancy steakhouse and he'll order a hamburger. It's like a kid.
Yeah, I'll do the chicken strips. Why does Murph every time he does an impression of me just make me sound like He was doing that on Friday. I'm like, why? It all goes back to me making love to a fuzzy taco.
I got a fuzzy. He makes you sound mentally handicapped and drunk at the same time. That's Keith's impression of you.
And then my wife's watching this going, yeah, seems about right.
Keith gets away with some crazy stuff. Just because he's Murph.
That was a fun event on Friday out at Confluence. I went to their remote. A great crowd there.
Yeah,
downtown throwdown.
I watched the program. Saw you get some Confluence
That
beers
is
for the fellas.
that is a really good beer. Matt, by the way, I bought you some of that.
What, the downtown throwdowns?
Yeah, I picked you up some of that.
love
mainly.
that stuff.
I forgot to give it to you on Saturday. I'm sorry, buddy. I'll bring it to you this week.
I'll pick it up today.
So Murph and Andy later on today at 1 Central. They are likely going to be moving their show earlier on Friday to get away from the Iowa State game. We don't know for sure. We are going to be going on Saturday morning. Do we know what time yet, Williams?
No, we will. So Aiden and Matt and I are working on a list of all the shows.
Okay. So no show Thursday morning.
It'll be Saturday morning at a good time because I'm going to have to get back to the arena.
What does a good time mean? Does that mean earlier or later?
Earlier.
Okay.
Because I'm going to have to be back at the arena.
Yeah.
For work.
Yeah, because then we'll be able to react.
In fact, I'll probably do the show from the arena is what I'll probably do.
Assuming that Iowa State wins.
Assuming they beat Tennessee Tech.
State.
Well, this was a fun show. Love
Speak
you guys.
for yourself.
You didn't have fun?
No, I did, but now I was supposed to be doing a show with Gara today on HQ, and she got stuck somewhere, so now I have to do the show solo.
Do you want me to Zoom?
Zoom
I'll
in,
do a show with you.
Zoom in, do the show. It's mostly an NFL mock draft.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds not like my wheelhouse.
I know.
Kyler Murray Nation, baby.
Oh, yeah. Kyler to the Vikings.
Tell Dawn we're coming for your ass in the north, buddy. Dawn Hassel, the Vikings are coming straight for your ass. Happy birthday to Dawn, by the way.
Oh, yeah. It was my dad's birthday over the weekend.
Love that. My dad is going to the game on Friday. They're going to St. Louis.
Oh, good.
Would Dawn ever pay money to go to an Iowa NCAA tournament basketball game?
No, God.
He's not the fan that my dad is.
And he would never go to see. He hates St. Louis. He says it's too
St.
close
Louis
to the Ozarks.
It is pretty mid. It's not my favorite city either, but it is what it is. All right, thanks for watching. We have Keith and Andy. They'll have Murph and Andy at 1 o'clock today. I'll have a new CW pod tomorrow, all NCAA tournament, and we'll have that show schedule for this week out here before too long. Have a great Monday. Later.